Hey guys, this is Jay Lethal, the Black Machismo, and woo, the Nature Boy, and you're listening to the Potsy and Tino Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Potchak. That's right, the Potsy and Tino Show. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. Thank you to Jay Lethal for that awesome introduction. Tino, we always start the show. We got Michael Turner already in the audience. We always start the show with a little segment called "What's Up with You." So let's roll through it.
Cool. Not a whole lot happened. I had a good week. Hung out with you Saturday. Got to hang out with the fellas, me, UT, other Rob, and your friend Dom. We watched the Royal Rumble, which we obviously were talking about today. I probably the best PLE I've seen in a while. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, obviously we're going to get into it, and we're going to deep dive into the Royal Rumble because it's really, freshest on our minds, right? But yeah, it was a like right after it got done, I said it was the best men's Rumble I think I've seen ever. So
yep. And so then other than that, the only other thing I got going on is Matthew started driver's ed today.
driver's ed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's the excitement we got going on in the Gray House. So I'm good.
And Michael Turner says he's getting ready for the Super Bowl. Well, I guess we can give Super Bowl predictions this episode as well. Didn't even think about that, but we can do that if you want before we jump into wrestling. I think that the real questions are who's going to be the company that buys the most advertising.
Yeah, I didn't even get to see the. I know it's Mahomes and the Chiefs and who
and the Eagles.
The Eagles, Chiefs
so
and the Eagles.
So it's a return from I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting. So didn't really get into too much, huh?
No, not really. It's pretty much chill, like I said. And then hung out with you Saturday. Hung out with some people I used to work. Well, one of my old managers and one of my co-workers. We just met downtown here in Apex and just got about to eat, play catch up. We hadn't seen the old manager Jen in a while. It was cool just to be able to catch up with her. And then I got done there, so I was at Salem Street Pub. And then at the same time, Nicole was like just right down the road at Peak of the Vine. She was doing a school book club. So when I got done with my thing, I swapped down to her and so listen to her and a whole bunch of her teacher friends who a lot of people, don't realize that I've been married to a teacher for all these years, been with her forever. People think, oh, no, those heifers get to drinking wine and beer just like everybody else, talking about books, and they sometimes tell dirty jokes too. You're like, this isn't how teachers, when you're like outside looking in, like teachers don't act like that. Yeah, the hell they do.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and they do it. Sometimes they're snooty about it because they're more intelligent. Other times, like you said, they just cut up like the rest of us. So
yeah, they cut up like the rest of us. That's all. It like I said, until I started dating her, I really thought teachers didn't have a life outside of school. When you're growing up, if you saw your teacher in public, you'd be
like, or you'd be like,
yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you there. So my week was filled with filling out like unemployment paperwork. That's awesome, right? Yeah. So I've been doing that. I did take an interview last week with a company called Randstad, which is pretty much
temp agency.
It's a temp agency, but they specifically hire for like Biogen, which is a biopharma company.
I think I used to work with back in the day. I worked for them one time back when I first graduated, first moved up to Raleigh Durham. I worked for Manpower, and then I did something for Randstad too. So that's why I remember that name.
Yeah, the thing I liked about what they were talking about though was obviously they were talking temp to perm, if the job did well or whatever. But then they also said that their temp agency does offer health benefits. So at least that would be there. Unfortunately, looks like they're not moving forward with the job, even though she loved me. I mean, she was like, I'm gonna definitely put you ahead and blah blah blah. I gotta email her back because she basically said that they can't meet my salary requirements. And right now, with zero salary, I think my requirements can be met on different terms than what I would normally.
We can negotiate.
Yeah, and I'll even negotiate myself down to what they're talking about, But it was for a training position, so it was something where I would actually be like the onboarding person and like teaching people like what they do in their specific roles. And they really wanted someone that could actually like update their training stuff because things have changed. So so like I said, she liked me, but the thing I worry about is that she told me that they can't meet my salary requirements, but what it really is like she knows that it's going to get held up with like the education thing or whatever else. So there's that, but it is what it is. This week, so my buddy Dom came into town from New York. He came in on Thursday to see his daughter. We basically hung out for a while. I wrote the next week of trivia. When he was in town, we basically just all he wanted to do was watch like Ted Lasso. So we finished watching Louder Milk because he was watching that with me last time he was down. So we finished that. He only had like 2 episodes left, which was hilarious to me because I couldn't remember where he had stopped. And he's like, no, I think we're further than this. It's like, okay, whatever. So we started Ted Lasso. We got all the way to the last episode, and he had to leave for his plane. So like,
damn.
If you've never seen it, Tino, Ted Lasso is one of the most heartwarming and yet deep TV shows for a comedy you'll ever watch. It's by the same people that do Shrinking, which is the Harrison Ford and Jason Segel one at Apple TV. It's also the same guy that created Scrubs. So I'm a big fan of Bill Lawrence's stuff, and going through and watching Ted Lasso again, it's like it's amazing at how many things you miss because of how smartly written it is. Other than that, Die Hard 2 is out in stores sometime this month. We will figure out when Die Hard 2 is going to be in stores. Tell Matthew to put a shirt on.
That's not gonna happen. That's teenage boy.
Yeah, he won't smile, but he'll show his titties.
Yeah, that dude's solid. He's better shape than you and me.
Well, I mean that's obvious. I mean I'm solid and I'm shapes, but like not the ones that anybody, including myself, like looking at. But so like I said, Die Hard number 2 is coming out soon. Got shipments of Mark Spear's Monsters books this week. Been dabbing a little bit into the eBay scene with those, and it's crazy at what they're selling for. Just putting them up on like 5-day auctions, seeing what they go for. Almost all of them are going for like a couple of them are metal books, metal cover books. So those are going for 150 to 175 a piece. But the important thing when it comes to my comics that I want to talk about is that and in fact I think it's something that just in general can give you a much different perspective on things. And Tino, I don't typically like talking politics or being political on here, but I do have to mention that the proposed tariffs and the existing stuff with the comic book industry already, with Diamond Distribution having issues with bankruptcy in Chapter 11 and all that, the comic book industry is under a massive attack right now. And it's because if Diamond Distribution can't continue fulfilling books to shops, they go out of business completely. It means that all of these smaller publishers could go out of business from it, which is something very, very important, near and dear to me. But then these tariffs you don't normally think about like what they could possibly affect, but what they really affect is most comic book companies. Now, KeenSpot actually had moved to an all U.S. branded printing firm, for a while now, but most of the comic book industry, the the collected editions of their books are actually typically printed in China.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the regular monthly comics of like DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Image Comics are actually printed in Canada.
Oh.
So when you're talking about now, I did just read something that says the Canada tariff has been postponed.
Pause for 30 days, and so is the Mexico tariff.
Yeah. So we'll see what they do with that, but a 25% tariff on incoming products could mean a guaranteed price hike of most comic books by, upwards of $1 to $2 a book. And, a lot of people think that comics are already overpriced, right? So if you think that comics are overpriced now, and then a tariff comes in and starts forcing products to be charging more to maintain just even the same level of possible profitability, it means
So what
that.
about
Go ahead.
so what about digital? Can you charge? Do they charge for, like, if you want to, like, digital? Can we start selling them digitally? You know what I
So
mean?
so almost every comic book company still sells their digital versions of their books for the same price. And the reason why is because they still want people to go into the comic book shop to actually buy a physical copy of the book.
So what I'm saying, though, if the tariffs hit and they're more expensive in the comic book store, could they still make their money off the digital? You know what I mean? Would the digital price go up too?
So they
Because that didn't have
can,
anything to do.
so the difference there, though, like I'm sitting here telling you about these Mark Spears comics and everything that are coming out. If that was just a digital book, it's going to be regular cover price, and you're never going to see like an impact on like the resale market or anything,
Got
right?
it.
So
I was
the
wondering. Yeah.
collectability disappears,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the reselling and whatever, when it comes to that, is where the issue comes in. Haha,
Got it.
funny that I say issue when we're actually talking about comic book issues, right? But it's something that is very possibly going to negatively impact an already struggling area. And that, coupled with the diamond distribution thing, could just, I mean, it could basically be the nail on the coffin of making comic books. So
Mm.
like something that I've done now for what, up to 30 years of my life, could just, there was just a really weird noise that happened over there in my room, and
Oh, okay.
I think it was actually outside, but it sounded okay. Those are gunshots. Gotta love Durham. Anyways, so yeah, so that's something that's pretty important to me, and it could, and like I said, it that part most likely won't negatively affect KeenSpot unless the printer is actually getting their paper from outside the country.
Okay.
So if they're importing paper from, Mexico or Canada or whatever, that could negatively affect us there, because they're going to be charged more for the paper, and the paper's already insanely highly priced when it shouldn't be, but it is. So that it's just kind of weird. But on a positive note, when it comes to comic books, this week we go to solicitation with Dreadmutt #1. So that book that I've been talking about the past couple weeks, it's gonna be a fun ride. I got the covers in this week. I don't have any that I can show you right now, because I still got to put the logo on all of them and everything. But yeah, so we're doing that, and I'm going to be part of a meeting for something that could impact KeenSpot going forward, when it comes to printing and distributing comics. So pretty excited about that. I can tell you a little bit more about that off air, but I can't really go into it. But yeah, so later this month, Die Hard #2 comes out. Early April, Die Hard #3 comes out. We're off to the letterer with that, so we just got to wait until Micah gets our book back to us. And pretty much other than that, this week is just going to be taking care of my trivia games, keeping up with what's going on with pro wrestling, and trying to get this Dreadmutt #1 actually complete, so that way it can go off and be my next crazy comic book. So that's what's up with me. What has your weekly watching been like, Tino?
Uh, my shows have come back. Shows I like my NCIS Origins, Watson. We can talk about it now. I kind of talked to you Saturday. You remember last week? I was like, "Don't tell me," because you were trying to tell me about the character you didn't like. I'm like, "Don't tell me." And so I asked you Saturday, like, "What's the big deal with that?" And like Elspeth and Matlock, my shows have come back, and you guys got me hooked on Tubi now. So I've been watching Tubi. I'm going back and watch all these old shows and old movies on Tubi over the
Yeah,
weekend. So
anytime I can't figure out what I want to watch, I just open up Tubi and start looking for something. And
yeah,
it's crazy because I mean they've got Tubi originals. Uh, Someone when we were watching the PLE was sitting there saying that they're dumping a ton of money into stuff on Tubi because they've now got NASCAR races,
mm,
they've got
NFL, I think.
they've got MLS, they've got and now they're going to be having WWE Evolve on there, which we can I can give people a little bit of information as to what that is in case they don't know. Michael Turner says that he's watching Raw, SmackDown, and animated stuff. Okay.
I caught up on Found and the Irrationals. I see that. So
Yeah,
I'm all right up there.
the only ones that I haven't really caught up on, or at least I don't think I have been the Law and Orders so far since they've returned.
That's for
Um,
use, yeah.
yeah, SVU's back, and so's the original, which at this point I probably like the original Law and Order more than I like SVU because I don't need to hear about someone getting raped every episode. Uh, but they're supposed to be bringing back organized crime, but that's going to be a Peacock exclusive. Uh,
Mm.
so I'll probably be picking that one up when it comes back on. And so I started another show on Apple TV because I signed up for Apple TV so that I can so I can show Dom Ted Lasso. What is that noise?
I don't know.
Oh, it's Nicole.
That noise.
No, well that too, but no, I can hear Nicole
Oh,
on the phone.
she's on the phone in the bedroom.
I can hear her that well. Okay.
There's a good mics on this earpiece, I guess.
So I'm watching another show on there. I'm watching two. One of them's called Severance, which is from Ben Stiller, but it's not exactly a comedy. The whole thing is about these characters that sever themselves from their normal everyday lives when they go to work. So basically, it's like they kind of give themselves like a lobotomy every day. So their innies are the people that work inside. That's half of their personality, and then their outies is when they're outside, is what they call them, right? And it's super weird. I mean, Christopher.
Ben Stiller.
Well, he's the creator of the series, but I mean, it's not like anything you'd ever see from Ben Stiller. So it's not like his crazy humor stuff. It's a true mind fuck. But it's good. Like the whole first season, like when it got done, I was like, wow, okay. And then they've had I think 2 episodes of season 2 happen so far. So there's that I've been watching, and then I picked up another show on there called Silo, which the best way to describe it is it's kind of like if you were watching the video game Fallout, but it wasn't outside. It was all happening inside the Fallout shelter.
Oh, okay.
So and they're like I think I'm in the 3rd episode of that one, and it's weird because when people decide that they want to go outside, and Rashida Jones was in the 1st episode, when they decide to go outside from the silo, they die almost instantly, thinking because they say that it's like the poisonous gas or whatever from a nuclear
Oh, okay.
or whatever that happened. Um, I'm thinking now, like I said, I'm only I think 3 episodes into it. I'm thinking that when they hook you up to the machine that is supposed to be your air filter so that you can keep going, I think they're actually poisoning you so that way you make it about 10 steps and then you fall over and die. That way they keep everybody inside the silo rather than letting people know that the world is actually like gotten back to being pretty,
Mm.
you know. So I'm gonna probably finish that up this week and just see where it goes. But it's been really good so far.
Okay.
Obviously, and so you brought up Watson. Morris Chestnut in Watson, I think, is phenomenal already, and there's only been one episode. He definitely comes across as a guy who could be a doctor and a detective.
Yep.
He comes across as the smartest guy in the room almost every time you see him. The show's got the feelings of like a house, you
Yeah,
know.
and I like the way they did incorporate Sherlock into the story as well. You know.
I did and I didn't. And the reason why is because and I know that it's the piece that they need to have in there because otherwise everybody would be like, well, where is he? You know? And that brings me to what I didn't necessarily like about it, and that's Randall Park playing Moriarty.
But
And
why?
why don't I like it? He
I'm
just
still because
he
he's
just
on Young Rock.
he always, to me, he always comes across as the goofy character.
Yes, I can see that.
Now I'm going to give it a shot because John
Yeah,
Cryer proved me wrong with Lex Luthor on Supergirl.
and I think that Moriarty character. I think you can have that goofy, almost mental, insane. He's so you know. Oh, this dude's crazy, right? I think he can bring that when you say goofy, he can bring that. Oh, this motherfucker's crazy aspect of that character too, right?
Well, there's other parts too, right? So like, did you ever see the BBC Sherlock with
I
Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman?
long time, yeah.
Okay. Now, there's been talk recently that Stephen Moffat, who created that series, has been contemplating bringing it back. And both Martin Freeman and Cumberbatch have basically said that they don't want to do it unless there's a reason to do it. Because they did it for 4 series, because that's what they call them over in Britain. But they did 4 seasons of it, and they were like 3 episodes each. They were never long things, but they were like hour and a half long episodes. The the Moriarty from that was so good that like he set the bar really high.
I got to go back and watch it now. Let's see if I can find it.
Like the guy and the guy that plays Moriarty in that is in a lot of stuff now. I don't know what his name is, but he's in a lot of stuff now, and he's just good in everything. But as Moriarty, when he was playing against Cumberbatch's Sherlock, was just, I mean, it was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
And then even like the Johnny Lee Miller one, where they played the difference. I think it was Natalie Dormer actually played Moriarty, and Natalie Dormer, like, she can be in anything, and I'm gonna watch it. But I mean, she's excellent in everything. Even her 2-minute cameo in Captain America: the First Avenger, like, she was good in the 2 minutes she's in there. Now, granted, that's it, but and I bet she probably hated the fact that she said okay to doing that one, because now it'd be hard to bring her back as a different character later, in a different Marvel thing. And I haven't seen her in much recently anyway. But Randall Park, to me, always comes across as the Randall Park from Young Rock. So even though he already seems a little more straight-laced and everything in this, like, I'm just assuming that he's going to be a little more comical, and maybe I'm making the wrong assumption because we only saw him for what, 10 seconds, and then a little bit of the preview, but like, it's still one of those things where when I saw him, I was like, huh, interesting casting choice. Know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna give him a chance.
Now that show doesn't even come back until what did they say, like the 21st?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted to show everybody on CBS's what they assumed was going to be their biggest football night of the year. So they did it then, but then they don't have the show ready to go. Like, yeah, it was nice to see Morris Chestnut sit there and say the wait is almost over, but come on.
Yeah,
You know, like people forget about this stuff. You get a series of TV shows that all of a sudden takes 2 years to make the second season come out. Nobody cares. Look at Heels.
Have you watched? Speaking of, and the only reason I think you might know who it is because she was in da, 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 the
I haven't
Disney
seen that
thing.
show. Da, 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 da,
No,
da.
she was in the Disney show, the big Disney show, with the chick, the witch and the witch and the robot, and Agatha came off that show,
Wanda.
WandaVision. So the chick that played Wanda,
Yeah,
um,
Elizabeth
oh
Olsen.
yes, she has a show on ABC called High Potential. Have you seen this show? So the premise of it is she has
Well,
like this, huh?
that's Caitlin. Caitlin, what's her face from It's Always Sunny.
You're right. I got the wrong one. And she's also she was in the Mix show. I think I might think about the wrong Olsen. My bad. My bad. There's so many of these. They all do look the same. They're blonde.
they, yeah, yeah, they all do look similar.
My bad.
Uh,
So I got her confused. My bad.
I have not watched that. I have not watched Abbott Elementary.
I don't watch that either. I don't.
Now, interestingly enough, I keep seeing this stuff online about how Abbott Elementary and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia are going to have a crossover episode.
Hmm.
So that's going to be interesting. You know, just seeing the wacky, zany It's Always Sunny crew interacting with this Abbott Elementary comedy show too. It's going to be pretty odd to me.
I've never watched the. It's always sunny in Philadelphia either. So I don't even know what that is. I know Danny DeVito's on it. That's about all I know.
Yeah, it's Charlie Day, Glenn Howard, and the guy that was in AP Bio, Rob McElhaney, you know, Ryan Reynolds' partner when it comes to Wrexham,
Mm.
and then Caitlin Olsen is the other one. I don't think she's one of the Olsen kids, by the
No,
way.
no, 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 no.
And
Something
speaking of
wrong with
Rob
that.
McElhaney, it just happened to be on downstairs as I was doing something. After I finished Ted Lasso, it immediately jumped into it. It's a show called Mythic Quest, and
Mythic.
he basically plays a video game designer, and it's basically like they're creating like a World of Warcraft or a Fortnite style game, and
That sounds familiar.
it's pretty wild from what I was just hearing, not even necessarily seeing. So
Well, McElhaney's married apparently to this Olsen chick. So
yes, they in fact like the three of them, McElhaney, Charlie Day, and Glenn Howard, and they were all like actors who are tired of not getting cast in anything, so they just
probably,
wrote It's Always Sunny and started starring in it themselves.
I think the big thing that Charlie Day's been in is what Fist Fight with Ice Cube.
Horrible Bosses.
Okay,
You
I
know,
always remember him in Fist Fight because he was good in that. And because my favorite scene is when they do, I don't fuck with you. And the little daughter did, are we doing this? Fuck it. And they start doing the dance at the little elementary school talent show. Dude, he had me. That movie had me rolling. So
all right, so Tino, who you got in the Super Bowl?
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs, man.
Yeah, I don't know what the spread
Or
is in the game or
or the
anything like
or
that.
should I say the Swifts? Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
no, I would say the referees. Like if you've watched any of the games, it's absolutely stunning to watch how often a bad call happens in favor of the Chiefs. In
Oh,
fact, in the AFC Championship game, there was a spot where Buffalo had 4th and 1. The original spot
mhm.
would have had them get the first down, and then they moved it back a full yard from there.
Bullshit. It was bullshit. But
Yeah,
it's going to but it's at the Super Bowl, so again, it's going to be the Taylor Swift show. How many times can we show Taylor Swift in the skybox?
yeah, they don't. What's funny about that is they don't even have to. They don't even have to have her do the halftime show because she's just going to be shown more often than the
In the
person they have
box.
doing the halftime show.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I am. I'm going to say this since I don't really have a dog in the fight, even though
I don't either.
I was born in Philly, so I want the Eagles to win. Um, but if the game is within 4 points, the Chiefs will win. So if the Eagles are able to blow them out, then the Eagles take it. But if it's a close game,
Yeah, that's how they get fucked up because that's how they came back and beat the Buffalo.
exactly. So Tino, I don't know if we necessarily need to go through Raw, SmackDown, or NXT from last week. Obviously, the PLE was the most important thing, but when we jump into wrestling, I want to talk about AEW Dynamite, and I don't want to try to sound like a hater, but I will because
You hate them.
I don't. We know I don't. I First, I want to start by saying if you haven't seen the advertisement for Christian Cage's Pure Plank on Facebook or Instagram, it is one of the best wordplay things I've ever seen. Because we all know that he's the patriarch, right? And we all know he's the dad to Nick Wayne, and he's the dad now to Kip Sabian. Well,
And his mother Wayne's daddy.
and his mother. If I was Christian's real wife, I'd be a little concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, because Mama Wayne,
Yeah.
Mama Wayne got the work done in all the right places. But the advertisement that I saw the other day for Pure Plank said Christian Cage is taking dad bods and turning them into father figures. And
That's
I
that's
can't
good.
stop laughing at this.
That's good. I like that. That is good.
Yeah, it blows my mind that no one had ever thought about calling a dad bod a father figure before.
That is fucking awesome. That is awesome.
So you saw that, folks. I popped Tino tonight.
That is awesome.
So, Michael, don't you mean Banks? Well, no, it would be Monet, but here we go, and this is what I want to talk about. So I watched all of Dynamite last week, and I've had issues because I run trivia on Wednesday nights, actually being able to watch all of Dynamite from time to time just because of that. But I watched all of it, and the first thing that it felt frantic. First of all, like it was all over the place. The first match, like one of the things I keep hearing Bully Ray sit there and talk about specifically is no, hold on. He asks people, what do you care about in AEW? Like, who do you care about? Why do you care about them? And it's a great question to ask, because when we ask who do you care about in WWE and you say Jey Uso, it's because he's got everybody involved doing the yeet, right? So like we're and a 4-year story that built up to him. The very first match on AEW Dynamite this week was Brian Cage, the Machine, versus Will Ospreay. Heck of a match. It was really good. In fact, I saw Brian Cage do something I've never seen in a wrestling ring or in a match before, because it didn't happen in the ring. When Ospreay was standing outside the ring on the railing and he dove at him, Brian Cage caught him in a suplex and held him there, and then walked him around the ring, then walked him into the ring, and then went down. Oh, wait, no, it was outside the ring. It was outside the ring. Went down almost all the way, and then picked him back up. That feat of strength was fucking insane. I loved it. But I don't give two shits about Brian Cage. I mean, the fact that he looks like Bill Butcher from The Boys is great, I guess.
That's who it is. I was trying to figure out, this motherfucker looks like somebody. I jacked up. Yeah.
But here you have probably the best pound for pound muscle guy in AEW, and his tag team partners out there too, Lance Archer, and he's no spring chicken. He's nothing to sneeze at. He's 6'10" and fucking built too, right? But I don't give two shits about them. I don't even care that Don Callis is their manager. And because of that, Did I think in any way, shape, or form that Will Ospreay was losing this match? No. And he didn't lose the match. He won the match and then got jumped. And 1 week removed from Kenny Omega saying, I won't be in this match with you, and all of a sudden being like, you know what? Yes, I will be in that match with you. Like, they're botching a story for the returning Kenny Omega right now, if you ask me. But that match should be better in terms of the presentation of it than just two guys wrestling. You know?
Yeah.
And I say that because when I look at the other matches that happened, you had Jay White versus Wheeler Yuta. They had the commentators did everything they could to try to invest me in this match. They did the whole thing of Wheeler Yuta's been a thorn in his side for weeks. Okay, cool. Show me that. Show me the replay. If I didn't watch last week, I'm not just taking your word for it. You have the footage. Show it. Make the story real. Make it like fluid. Don't just say it. And again, I felt like they really did a good job, or as good of a job as commentators can do, without being given anything to help them.
Yeah.
I
agree with you, Michael Turner. Harley Cameron.
What did Michael Turner say?
He said Harley Cameron. I do like her. I like her.
I absolutely love her. There was a video this weekend of her singing with Potsy, as she was singing I Hate Myself for Loving You, and it was excellent. And that was from the Jera Cruise, I guess. But then there was, she had this, like, I didn't know she could do this, but she's a ventriloquist.
Yeah, she did it Saturday on
Yeah, but she was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the guy on Saturday Night Live that was moving his mouth the whole time that he was using his puppet. She was good. And then Mercedes Moné still sitting there, nope, not going to have a match with you, sorry. And I want to get to that match too. But Wheeler Yuta versus Jay White. Jay White's about to finish the match. And now I guess it's okay to have disqualifications in AEW because, 4 years they didn't have more than one in 4 years, but now they've had like 5 or 6 just in like the last 3 months. They show an interview because the Death Riders come down and they beat down Jay White. Then Cope and FTR come out to make the save, and they say, oh, now you're running away because now there's enough of us to take on all of you. Which I find funny because wouldn't you have thought that guys like Cope and FTR would have been able to find someone else to help them in the first place? Or are they just stupid, and that's why they run out and their asses beat because there aren't enough of them to take down all of the Death Riders?
I think they're still trying to make the Death Riders too strong. This Death Riders storyline is
trash.
It needs to stop. It needs to either get to the point. See, at first, like when they first started doing it, because even you were like, "Ooh, Shane McMahon could come in." It had promise, right? But they dragged it out too long.
At this point, nobody in AEW is built to the level that should be able to, or that can beat the Death Riders. Nobody.
I think they're trying to make Copeland, but I don't even think Cope's going to do it.
The only person right now is Bryan Danielson, and Bryan Danielson could come back, but if he went out with neck surgery, then that's not happening for a year. If
Allen's not coming back because he's training to do the Mount Everest. Remember, he's supposed to climb Mount Everest. He hurt himself.
But Darby Allin isn't over enough to beat him either.
No, they were going to make Darby. That's what they're saying was on tap to do it.
Did they ever say? No, they never really talked about, because the way that Moxley spun it, Michael, was that there really wasn't anybody, and he's the one sitting there saying that he's the man and he's the one that's taking it to the next levels and whatever.
You don't need to see the belt because he is the belt. He is the championship.
Which is bullshit. Straight up bullshit. Just like that Jeff Jarrett versus Claudio match. Like, how do they end the one match in disqualification, but then the Jeff Jarrett match, Claudio gets the 1, 2, 3. Finally, we get to Mercedes Money versus Shakazuki Moki Maki. I don't even know what her name was. Which
you're about to get canceled.
I can't help it, man. I don't know what her name was. And all I can say to that is this: the same fucking thing that I said about Brian Cage. Why is this the main event? It literally felt like an episode of WWF Superstars from 1990, because I knew Mercedes Money wasn't losing. And they made such a big deal out of her being 13-0 in her AEW career with that TBS championship, when Jade Cargill went 65-0 with it.
But they have to rebuild somebody now because Jade's gone.
Well, absolutely. But I'm telling you, right now, straight up, one, I knew Money wasn't losing, right? We knew she wasn't losing. Two, I had no idea who the other woman was. Had no reason.
Well, she's been on the show. If you watch, and you even admit yourself, you don't watch. She's been on the shows. She has worked her way up in the shows.
But backstage, you have Harley Cameron sitting there putting in the work. Backstage, you have, and let's go ahead and say it. The biggest story in AEW besides this Death Riders bullshit story that we both hate is Mariah May versus Toni Storm. Mariah May makes an appearance where it looks like she's reading off of cue cards, and Toni Storm doesn't even show up.
Because she showed up Saturday, and she showed up Saturday.
I get
you
that.
Should think, Rob.
Hold on.
No. Because this is what pisses me off. When WWE does the same shit, they'll put somebody to do their promo the week, and the person they're talking about is not there, and then they come back. That's fine. That's exactly what AEW did.
I didn't say
the champion could have problem.
I didn't say
you just bitch. You said that Mariah May could have promo, but where was Toni Storm? That's exactly what you just said.
Hold on though. Here's my problem with it. You had millions of people watch that spot from YouTube because they didn't watch it on Collision last week, right? Millions of people saw that interaction between them, and I even asked you about it last week because all those YouTube clips didn't show the whole interaction, right? Okay. So once again, they missed the opportunity by not showing the entire interaction and how it all went down. But then
I'll give you that.
But then your A show, you don't build upon it. You don't add more to it in a way where like your core audience is there every week. So if you just happen to only watch Dynamite, you got an 8-second video of Toni Storm talking about shit, and that was it. And the pop she would have gotten by coming out and confronting Mariah May on Wednesday would have been so much bigger than the one on Saturday. And by the way, I know that Collision was taped the same night, which means they could have done 2 of them instead of just 1.
This one wasn't live. I didn't even know this wasn't live. I guess not, because they were doing the damn summer. I mean, Royal Rumble. They probably still not doing this shit.
So, to me, the overall feeling that I got was the wrestling excellent? Yes. The wrestling itself on the entire night of Dynamite, I felt was top notch. But I don't feel like Tony Khan, like AR Fox versus Ricochet. Good match. Those 2 guys can do some really awesome flippy flop stuff.
What was the point?
Well, see, and here last week AR Fox made up with Swerve Strickland? Because it was just last week. And here's almost like a contradictory statement.
Okay.
Like, that's moving that story along on a weekly basis on your biggest show, right?
I forgot about that. I forgot he did face Swerve last week. My bad. Yeah, I did forget about that, and him and Swerve made up. I forgot about that.
But even still, to your question of why did they have that match? They didn't need to. But like,
I think they did, and I think I see the pieces they did. So, like you just said, at the end of the Swerve AR Fox match, they made up, right? So at the end of the AR Fox Ricochet match, Ricochet won, and he was getting ready to attack him with the scissors, which brought out Swerve, which furthered that story along. So it did. There is that link there.
But even there, Ricochet has the scissors. Swerve's on the top rope. Nana's outside the ring and could just grab his hand.
Nana's too busy.
Yeah. Nana's trying to make a save like Jeff Hardy.
But Nana said Ricochet already almost stabbed me with those scissors. I'm not fucking with that crazy bitch.
So again, in trying to bring it all back, I thought the wrestling was top notch. I thought that if we were just grading the wrestling on, like, if we went to a house show or we went to one of these local wrestling shows, that's what it really felt like to me, because Mercedes Moné versus whatever her name was.
I can't remember her name. I know you.
I think it was Sakazaki.
Sakasaki, I think that was. Jason would know.
Jason would be like giving you all of her statistics. She's 368 and 42, Rob. She was in Stardom until blah 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 blah.
We were at that concert. He goes, what's her name? She's retiring. I said, Oscar's grandma, and he looked at me. I said, she's finally hanging up this medical sketches.
Medical sketches. So
she went in the middle of the ring.
She's going to take the insoles out though, so she. But in my final thoughts on this are, it really didn't feel like an episode of something that they want to be the competition to WWE. It felt like the Saturday morning show that is like 4 or 5 matches, and the 4 or 5 matches are throwaway, glorified jobber matches.
It's either superstars or heat.
Yeah. Unless Heat was before the pay-per-view. Because anytime it was before the pay-per-view, it was typically a good episode of Sunday Night Heat. But because that was the week it was live. But to me, they have so many people on roster. And they have so many bigger names on roster. And yet it was Brian Cage versus Will Ospreay. It wasn't Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. It wasn't Swerve versus Will Ospreay. Like all of these big names that you can just have those matches with.
Yep.
Why isn't Jay Lethal wrestling?
I don't know.
Like he's literally just backstage with Jeff Jarrett. Why? I don't know.
So I didn't stop them wrestling.
They probably have the same deal. Like oh, you get to be on TV anytime Jeff Jarrett's here, but that's it. Like
okay. He said okay.
Yeah, exactly. When he says it from up here.
Okay.
It's like when you watch The Naked Gun and it's like, Phil, you got something right here and a whole banana falls down. But I really felt like the whole episode was throwaway matches, no storyline build, really. Like a little bit with the Swerve and Ricochet, and a little bit with Mariah versus
Harley.
Well, and then Harley still sitting there trying to get a chance, right? Now, if Harley's the one that ends up beating Moné, great. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am not going to watch 60 more matches of Mercedes Moné doing her stupid little like shimmy. Like, how is it that Prince Nana has more rhythm than Mercedes Moné?
Also, my other favorite part, they interacted Wednesday and they interacted Saturday, is Buddy Matthews and the Rainmaker. He said, "Oh, you're not gonna defend the belt? Oh, so you must be a bitch. I know, bitch. This kid's speaking. I know, bitch. You bitch."
Wow. But yeah, that
So I don't
like
think anything
they
can
know
happen.
they have something special with Harley Cameron, and yet she hasn't won a match.
I think that's not what there's. I think they're starting to push her. You know what I mean? I think they might be because she won. She beat Valkyrie Saturday night. So I think they're going to start pushing her, and I think they're starting to push her towards Mercedes, and they might be pushing her because the fans are getting behind her. They might be pushing her to that TNT title.
I mean, well, TBS, but yes,
TBS, sorry, TBS.
it's fine. Where is the TNT Championship? I have no fucking clue.
He just defended it Saturday night in a three-way with
Oh, who was it?
Kyle O'Reilly and Lee Moriarty because they're
Well, who holds it?
um, Daniel Garcia.
Man, forgot about him. Now
No,
that is
he's been doing good with that belt.
well, he's a great wrestler, but like, but if you only watch the A show, you don't see him, right? So there's that problem there too. So okay, I think I'm done talking about. I think I'm done talking about AEW and putting all my detractors, saying how bad it is. But I don't think the wrestling's bad. In fact, I thought the wrestling was better than a lot of the stuff I've seen on WWE television recently. But
I think that's what when they first started out. I think that's what set them apart from WWE because they had phenomenal wrestlers and the wrestling was good and it was good, 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 good. Then it hit that plateau. It kind of plateaued.
well,
Then
that
it
was
kind
the
of
CM
dipped.
Punk factor,
Huh?
like CM Punk. After CM Punk, when they all of a sudden started brand splitting the rosters without really brand splitting the rosters, like that's why you only see Daniel Garcia on the one show and not the other. That's why you only like Hangman Page literally was on the episode of Dynamite for what 12 seconds when he
Mm,
busted past MJF, and MJF was like, "Everybody gets mad at me when I do that."
he's an ass.
I just I don't know. You have a frantic person running your program, which means it's going to be a frantic program.
What do you mean?
Tony Khan. Tony Khan's a very frantic person.
Yeah, you sure
Yeah,
it's frantic?
yeah. Exactly. I'm moving at my own pace. But he still has this real big problem of only playing with his favorite toys. And look at Danhausen. Danhausen did the interview with Chris Van Vliet this week, without makeup on, talking
Of
about
course he did.
frustration. He said I am the number 3 or number 4 merch seller every year for AEW, and I'm not even on the show.
Oh damn.
And then
Is he still signed?
yes, and he said right now they just have nothing for me, so I'm booking all of these indie appearances, and I'm keeping myself fresh and everything else. He did the interview. From what I can tell, he did the interview out of character.
I'm trying to see him without makeup.
I mean, he's a normal looking dude.
I mean, I'm sure he is, but I'm like, I've never seen him without makeup.
I'm pretty sure I sent you like one of the TikToks that he was talking. But anyway, I
Yeah.
just like people like that, people like Miro. Hell, like I'm sure you're gonna tell me that Adam Cole was on Collision, but like, isn't he one of your biggest names?
I think he was on. Was he not on? Dynamite?
I don't remember seeing him. So, anyways, there's all that.
Oh
Obviously, the
shit!
young what?
Sorry, I just found the video. I'm like, oh shit!
All right, Tino. Let's go ahead and it's 9 o'clock now. We started almost at 8, so let's go ahead and start talking about the women's Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Now, I don't have the list of when everybody entered.
I can let me pull it up. You wanna talk and stall, and I'll pull it up.
I do know that Roxanne Perez broke the record for the longest woman in a Royal Rumble. She now holds the record at 1 hour and 7 minutes. So anybody that thinks
Wow.
that Roxy and Roxanne Perez cannot go to the ends, she almost went bell to bell in it, and she was the last person eliminated.
All right. So, they of course Bleacher did. They got the order of entrance. So the first two was Io and Liv.
Yep,
All right. Then Roxanne. Then Lyra.
yep,
Chelsea Green.
yep.
B-Fab. Ivy Nile. Zoe Stark.
And at this point, nobody had been eliminated.
Mm-mm. Lash Legend. Bianca Belair. Shayna Baszler. Bailey. Sonya Deville.
All right, stop there, because I don't want to give anything away. I want to talk about these specific moments, like as when we actually want to talk about them. So the Women's Royal Rumble was mostly predictable, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
And no surprises yet. Yet no
so
surprises yet.
right, Triple H after the Rumble, when he did his press conference, actually said sometimes it's okay to be predictable, other times you want to be completely unpredictable. And I think that we saw that on this card, right? Like, in fact, I would probably say that 3 of the 4 matches were pretty predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to the men's main event, which we'll talk about shortly. So far,
We were wrong. that means we were wrong.
yeah, and we hadn't had any conversations because who ended up winning that? Like, I would have said that he probably would have been like a number 2 dark horse, like not my number 1, but and only because of like what I'd been hearing that week leading up to it. But so far, you gave me like 15 names. None of them really surprised. The one thing I will say is that I was happy to see that anybody that was a champion wore their championships down to the ring.
Yes.
I thought that that's important, especially when the other company doesn't even show its world championship on television right now. At this point, you had multiple champions in the ring. You had Roxanne Perez, who had just been the NXT Women's World Champion. So and until you had like Lash Legend in there, they were all comparably sized, comparably sized. I felt like there wasn't anything really surprising at this point, but we did get to see good in-ring action for the most part. Okay, now you can continue. Unless you have more to add to that.
No, you're right, because it when it starts filling up, that's when we'll get into it. Maxine Dupree, Naomi, Jada Parker, Piper Niven.
Now, did Jada Parker surprise you in this?
Yes.
Me too.
Even though she's been getting a push in NXT, and I wouldn't be surprised if they called her up because I think she's ready. She's good. Piper Niven, Natalia, Jordan Grace, Meechin. I want to stop there.
Yeah, okay.
Jordan Grace.
So far,
Jordan
the only technical surprise would have been Jordan Grace, who had signed her WWE contract like a week and a half before that.
And everybody kept saying she now has the WWE look. That's everybody. I mean, the guys we were with.
We were there with. Yes, she suddenly looks more like a Beth Phoenix
Mhm.
than a Nyla Rose. You know,
And
go ahead.
no, go ahead. Finish your statement because you're talking about the West Coast. I was going to point something else out.
I just felt like with her, like before, she always looked like the the almost like a circus act where you would see her like grab like a barbell or something and just twist it, you know? And what WWE has done is given her that, but given her grace. And not just her last name, but
And she also looks like she might have lost a little bit. She didn't look as thick.
she looks trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to add with that, so we remember that Naomi for a bit had gone over to TNA as Trinity, and she won the world title over there. While she was over there, her and Jordan, became friends, which is key because when Jordan at one point in the match, Jordan and Naomi took a second, they kind of looked and they hugged, which caused Bianca Belair to come from behind Jordan, grab her by her hair, and pull her away from Naomi. Do you think that's going to lead to? Obviously, I think that will. I think that'd be a good match, powerhouse versus powerhouse. But do you think that that's is going to start a split between Naomi and Bianca?
At some point there's going to be something that does, right? We've thought for a while now that it's very possible it was Naomi that actually beat down Jade, um, which like I could almost see them doing similar to like the New Day, where both of them turn heel, but they both turn heel against each other.
Mm.
Like instead, like how it looked like the New Day was splitting up and going to attack each other, and then all of a sudden, like we obviously see what has transpired with them. This would actually be something where you could see them both attacking each other from it. Um, which at some point someone ends up going babyface again from there, but I could see both of them being uh, heels for a bit. I actually wanted to ask you, what did you think of the little mini pit bull in there, Ivy Niles, sitting there and lifting two of the women and doing the German suplex of two women at one time?
Somebody poo-pooed it there, but I want to think about it though. As short as she is,
Yeah,
first
that
of
was
all, she's powerful. Yeah, first of all, the power to pick up those two women. If she'd had done an over the head as short as she is, she'd have landed on the back of her neck or the back of her head. So she did kind of have to do it to the side, or she'd have hurt herself.
well,
But
yeah,
but yeah, that power and that little girl, it's fucking scary, dude. It's
yeah.
fucking scary.
It's I mean she is and she is lean too. So I mean like she has like no body fat on her
What
except
was that? What was that joke you said about? Did you tell that joke that you said about Finn Balor about her too? Like she hadn't had a carb since when?
yeah, she hadn't
Right?
had a carb since she got to the performance center.
Yeah.
Uh and I mean like I was very impressed by her. I was very impressed by Jordan Grace ended up with Piper Niven ended up doing doing the Death Valley Driver, and when she did it, she bounced, and I
That
thought she
was
was going to
funny.
bounce out of the ring
That
because
was so funny.
like it was insane.
So then we had Meechin. Then we had our second big surprise entrance, who you said got the Road Warrior pop, and
Yeah.
that would have been one Little Miss Alexa Bliss.
Yes. Now, did you see her jacket?
I didn't until somebody pointed it out. I was watching something and I didn't realize it, and so it said what Friends Forever, but the letters were blacked out, so it's just like it said Fiend Forever or something like that, right?
So all the letters were like red
Hmm.
except for the R in friend. The R in friend was white. So you
It's
could easily take that away and see Fiend Forever. And
and also somebody I don't they said Lily had a six and they showed it in one of her eyes, so they're thinking is she gonna go to? She could possibly go and align herself and maybe I want to be a leader because you already got Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy as a leader, right?
well, yeah, but Alexa Bliss, it
Is the
depends on
OG.
how they want to do it with her. But I mean, I could see her just coming in and like everybody starts listening to her regardless of if she's the leader, you
That's
know.
true too.
I was very impressed by what I saw from her. Like after not being in there for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
I don't like she missed a beat.
She looked a little stale, a little ring rusty, but not enough for me to say. Like when she did the backflip and everything, she looked hesitant.
Yeah.
You know,
But
but
she had a baby. She hadn't been in it 2 years. You know what I mean? So
well, I'm gonna say she didn't have any baby fat on her.
no, she looked the same.
She
Amazing.
looked exactly the same. She had the pigtails. I mean, 5 feet of fury. I mean,
Yep.
she had it all. I didn't like how she got eliminated.
No.
Her elimination looked like it was not necessarily like oops or anything, but I was just like, she
Kind of
got
like the elimination we're going to talk about in the men.
we're going to talk at length about that. But she easily got the biggest pop of the entire night.
Yeah.
And people were talking about how when Charlotte Flair came out that she had a huge pop and it was sustained and everything else. Nothing like Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, the entire walk down to the ring, it crescendoed louder, like
Hmm.
because people had to remember whose music it was,
Yep.
and I mean, but I mean, like she's absorbed it. She took it all in. When she got into the ring, the clock almost immediately started for the next person.
Yeah. You kept saying, I didn't say it's been 2 minutes.
There
But
were a bunch of those in the men's
yeah.
match that did not feel like they were 2 minutes. But go ahead.
Selena Vega,
Eh.
Candice LeRae. We got another surprise, but not so much. Stephanie Valkyrie. I wasn't expecting her to be there. Then we
Yeah,
got,
and I kind of jumped the gun during
yeah,
that
you
one
did. You
because
did.
I said how are they going to have her in there but not Julia, and
Hmm.
and you'll get to that I'm sure.
Yeah. Then the next surprise, which
Trish
probably
Stratus,
wasn't a surprise, Trish Stratus.
and when her music hit, almost everybody there was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "That's Trish." And someone sitting there was like, "No, it's not. That's not her
Yeah,
music." And I was like,
yeah, it is. That giggle. That giggle that and you know that's Trish.
"Yeah, it's
Yeah, oh.
yeah,
Let's
exactly.
rock and roll. Yeah. So as soon as I heard that giggle, I went, here she comes.
Yep." And you want to talk about somebody who never seems to skip a beat, like Trish Stratus. Like I'm hoping that her return means something, not just a entrant, you know.
But when she showed up, I said, well, hopefully they fucking bring Lita back too.
Well, Lita at the end of her last run, like they were saying she started looking like, how Kurt Angle like really steeply fell off the cliff. Lita's
Mm.
performances went the same route.
Uh,
So
Big Mommy Cool's what they were calling her, Raquel Rodriguez. And then the big one, Charlotte, Julia, Nia Jax. And then our final surprise at number 30, nobody even thought Nikki Bella.
you can look, but you can't touch.
When that music hit, people lost their minds. When they were like, "Oh, everybody remembers," and who was that? Somebody was in the skybox, like that chick was in the skybox. She's like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, and she got a pretty good pop when she was coming down to the ring, and then that pop almost instantly ended when she started. And you even said you out loud were like, "You ain't Scott Steiner, bitch," because she started doing push-ups.
Yeah,
And it's like, that's great, Nikki. Like, this isn't the place to do that when you got 12 other women in the ring with you.
I think what the funny part was Roxanne got down on her face and started doing push-ups.
Yeah, and Roxanne was like, "You're not," and she actually said, "You're not the only one that can do that."
Then we had the Rumble. Um, what'd you think?
The final three people in the Rumble were Nikki Bella, Roxanne Perez, and Charlotte Flair.
Hmm.
And it would have been incredible for Roxanne Perez to win, but it was never going to happen. Her getting the 100 or the 67 minutes in the Rumble and breaking the women's record there, which, by the way, was set last year when number 1 and number 2 were the last 2 contestants. I think at like an hour and 2 minutes last year.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea here was that you reintroduce Charlotte while also making somebody, right? Nikki Bella, we don't know if Nikki Bella is going to stick around. She did make it sound like you don't know when the Bellas are going to show up after this. I don't know. Mm-hmm. When you bring back a Bella, you kind of want the other Bella there too.
Breeze it home with Brian. She's like,
well, of course. Although he's not under any type of contract, so and you know, Bryan Danielson, or as Daniel Bryan, would be a great Hall of Famer. You know, which, you know, we kind of have to talk about that too. So we'll make that the last thing we talk about tonight, because it's although it is probably going to leave a sour taste to some people. But Charlotte Flair winning, it's not a surprise. And she got in there at number 27, which has been the famous spot for, at least for the men's Royal Rumble, the men's winner almost, you know, like if you come in at number 27, I think that it said you have like a 12% chance of winning, whereas on spots you don't have anywhere near that. It's disappointing though. Like her versus Rhea Ripley again, like, because by then you're hoping that Charlotte's gotten all the ring rust off of her and she's in full tip-top shape, and going against like a Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania would be great, and it would probably be the night 1 main event.
But I think she's going to go for Tiffany. I think it's somebody called it blonde on blonde crime.
The sad thing is, I like, as much as I love Tiffy time, and you know I do, I worry that match won't provide the build that I think it would need. Whereas I think Rhea Ripley, you already have that 3-year story of two other WrestleMania matches between the two of them.
It'd be a rubber match because of each one won. So yeah.
And that one would be one where you could see Rhea Ripley actually beating her. Whereas if she goes against Tiffany Stratton, I don't see Tiffany winning that match. So that'll be interesting. And you know, obviously we're not watching Raw right now, so it's very possible Charlotte walked out on Raw and Alexa Bliss walks out on SmackDown, you know. I don't think they realized Alexa Bliss was going to get the pop that she got. And I would instantly be putting her in the Elimination Chamber and everything to try to.
Oh, they will.
Yeah. Like they're gonna have to like force her into storylines now. Like if she's good to go, and rumor is she signed a 5-year contract this week. So nice. Yeah, so a new 5-year contract, probably half the dates that she was working. You know, because nowadays everybody's working 100 days instead of 200 days or whatever. But whatever. What did you think about the end?
Not surprised. I kind of
like when to me, when Becky Lynch wasn't number 30.
Yeah, I knew Charlotte was winning.
We were all like, Charlotte Flair's winning.
Charlotte is one of those who Charlotte doesn't need a belt. You know what I'm saying? So why not give somebody else a chance? You know what I mean?
Well, I agree with that. But if it's to build someone who is the champion into an even bigger champion, then I'm okay with it.
But Rhea's already fucking to the moon already, so she doesn't really need it.
Well, then the idea of Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I got on that match.
Okay.
The next match up was the tag team 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yep.
And it unfortunately, something had to be in this spot, right? And unfortunately, at least in my mind, this match would never live up to any expectations that might have been set, just because of how good I felt the Women's Rumble actually went. You know, if there were lots of sloppy spots in the Women's Royal Rumble, like oftentimes there are, then I think that this match would have had a better chance of surviving, and not being looked at as the down point of the entire pay-per-view or PLE.
Somebody who was it, Dom or somebody was saying I guess they're saying the Motor City Machine Guns were stuck in the early 2000s. I don't know what they were. I wasn't really paying attention to the
I
conversation.
think that was Terrence.
Was he talking about his ring gear, or just what were they?
Well, their music, their ring gear, their haircuts. I mean, like, you know, they and to be honest, they do. And the other thing that Terrence actually said during that was that if this match was happening 10 years ago, it would have been indie darling match.
Darling match.
Yeah, and it absolutely would have. I felt the match itself was good.
Just think of the ending.
Well, I want to talk about the fake tag first. Remember when Gargano goes to tag in Ciampa and Ciampa, you know, moves his hand and doesn't get tagged, and then he comes in making it look like he did. The referee actually saw the whole thing, which is impressive because they even went old school at one point where Sabin and Shelley tried to make a tag, actually made the tag, but Ciampa was like involved with the referee at the moment.
And the referee
actually made him get out of the ring like old school, which doesn't happen enough anymore. So I really like the refereeing in the match. And I like the match. I like the end. So we got a surprise return here. I wasn't really expecting this. I was thinking that it would have been pretty deadly, or it would have been the Garzas or whatever. But the Street Profits came back and they beat the shit out of the Motor City Machine Guns, which allowed Gargano and Ciampa to win the match, 1, 2, 3, and retain the tag titles. And just when and then they beat the shit out of beat the hell out of DIY, and everybody's like, okay, now all's right in the world again. It was solid.
Like, oh shit! I was like, oh shit, they're heel. But then they beat the shit out of DIY. Like, okay,
yeah, I'm okay with that now. Yeah. So good match though. Like, solid match. The match doesn't get the credit it deserves because, like I said, I feel like it came on after a really good women's Royal Rumble match. All right.
Then we had the murder match. Well,
you want to talk about the car crash?
They tried to. Damn. I thought a couple of these spots, dude's dead, and then that last.
Let's start with talking about Pat McAfee popping so hard for the mini ladder. Like Pat McAfee got hard on from it. He just like he just kept going with it. And by the way, it was funny because the mini ladder was funny, and the point where Kevin Owens climbed to the top of the mini ladder and Pat McAfee said he's going for a high risk maneuver. Was awesome. Okay, it absolutely was awesome. The match was easily an A+. Like Kevin Owens,
no arguments.
Kevin Owens put his life in Cody's hands, and we're still not sure if Kevin Owens is okay. Like I actually joked
about that move.
I joked that they were going to leave Kevin Owens outside the ring for the whole men's Royal Rumble, like because that's what it looked like they were going to do. Sami Zayn came down about halfway through the match because Kevin Owens did a did his off the second rope suplex to Cody on a ladder that was like set straight on the first rope, which looked like both of them were hurt from that. There was another spot where Cody did a back body drop to Kevin Owens on a ladder right on the top corner of the ladder.
Yep.
which
Yep.
was disgusting. And then there was another. There was a like Kevin Owens actually did a suplex to Cody right to that little bar that holds the ladder outright. I don't know how these two guys were not like bleeding profusely.
There were so many times I'm like, he's paralyzed. He's
They took they I really do feel like they took the ladder match to a different level, and that's hard to do because there have been so many great ladder matches. And I actually joked, look, there's nobody in the ring holding the ladder, and then the referee did hold the ladder because they were afraid that both of the guys were concussed and like internal injuries, whatever. Like
well,
neither
and Cody climbed to the tippy top too, though. So I think that yeah, he needed to hold that ladder.
which
But
which I think is because he was trying to unlatch it, and instead
mm,
just finally pulled the Velcro straps on both of them. Which, as we know, that Winged Eagle belt did not have Velcro straps, so it is not the same Winged Eagle.
yeah, um, I think this match. So we talk about a lot.
Is it
You know,
match of the year
Edge.
so far?
Yes, Edge was the pretty boy until he had that match with Mick Foley, right? So
Oh
do
no,
you
you're
think
talking. Well, you're saying Edge, but Randy Orton, same thing.
Randy Orton, sorry, was a pretty boy till he had this match? So I don't want to say Cody's a pretty boy, but I think this solidified. Oh, that's a tough son of a bitch. You know what I mean? You think he needed that edge?
I think this is the type of match that will have him rethinking whether or not he stays babyface. Like like he's got that grit now that you're talking about, which is great. Although he had that after the Hell in a Cell match against Seth, where his pec was torn off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is like this was like the who was it? Sammy Guevara that he had the ladder match with towards the end of his AEW career, and he set the table on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is that kind of match. But that Alabama slam at the
Oh
end
my
of the match,
God. Oh my
I don't know.
God.
One, you can't practice that.
That's one of those before they went out, look, dude, sorry, let's do it.
And Kevin Owens is 300 pounds, so like that ladder isn't holding his weight when he's coming at that much force.
And
So
from
the
that height.
ladder bends. KO's head goes through one of the rungs, and you could tell that he hit his nose and everything on the way down. And then he's just left like
He falls over. So it looked like his neck got in and he just kind of almost hung him. I'm like, that's why I'm like, he broke his neck.
well,
I
I think that the way that the ladder bent and everything slowed, the ladder slowed him down from just impact. Like if he had Alabama slammed him just outside the ring like that, he would have broken something. And for all we know, he does have broken somethings. I said after the match that I think that this is a way to write him off of TV in case he doesn't want to sign a new contract. Everybody
Mhm.
else looked at me and said I didn't think he wasn't under contract. And to my knowledge, he signed his new deal 3 years ago, like right before the Royal Rumble. And this year at the Royal Rumble, I think he was just like, this is my swan song. I don't know if he's gone because he's going to get one of those top paid deals. But it's time that we put a little respect on his name because at this point he's a one-time universal champion and he should be a multi-time world champion. So that's what I got about that one.
All right, and then finally the main event, the big boy.
The men's Royal Rumble match.
So 1 and 2 was Mysterio and Penta. I'm not even going to say anything else yet because I want to talk about. So Mysterio and Penta, they're going back and forth. They're going back and forth. They flip over the top rope. Tell me Penta's feet didn't hit.
Oh, you can't say his feet didn't hit because you guys made me watch it 4 times. And And while one foot was completely down, the other foot hit with toes, but that still counts. That still counts. Penta, first elimination.
And even I think even the on commentary they're like they tried to they had to everybody saw it. Everybody saw it.
Not only did everybody see it, I will say this though. The one thing they can do with it now is anybody that he eliminated, they can instantly make a storyline out of. Like if Chad Gable was eliminated by Penta, Chad Gable could come out here on Monday Night Raw and say, take a look at this. I wasn't eliminated because I was eliminated by someone who was already eliminated.
Yep.
You know, it's
All
the
right.
Randy Orton shoulder up from Gunther.
Yep.
You know?
So I wanted to hit on that first.
Yep.
Chad Gable, Carmelo Hayes, Santos Escobar.
So right now, you have 5 guys in the ring. 3 of them are luchadors, and Chad Gable hates luchadors.
And they ganged up on him at one point.
And they all gang up on him at one point, yes.
Otis.
Yes.
Braun Breaker. I want to talk about Braun in a little bit.
Chad Gable did that slow suplex to Otis in this match.
Oh my God.
What
it
do
was
they
picture perfect.
What do they call
it
that?
something. They call it something because I can't remember what they call it.
But,
and Michael, if you know what they call it, because it is they named it. That is a move.
Yeah, and but he does that, and he does it so amazingly well, and it is just gorgeous to watch when he does it. But when he's doing it to a guy who's 400 pounds, and you know that standing slow suplex is a move that he has to use all of his core strength to be able to do that.
Yep.
And it's fucking insane. Okay.
So at some point, Carmelo Hayes got eliminated because at this point, Tozawa's coming down and he passes Hayes, and Hayes looked at him like, motherfucker, what? And beat the fuck out of him for no reason.
Get out of him.
And so they carried it in the back, and he's like, hey, we got to replace him. We got to replace him. Who are we going to replace him? Triple H sends I Show Speed out there.
So I Show Speed is a YouTuber or a Twitch
he's a
streamer
YouTuber. He's a YouTuber.
And it's not the first time he's been on WWE programming because apparently he's had other moves done to him already.
Yeah. So my favorite part, and I think it was later on in the match, but I want to stop right now and show my appreciation. So I Show whatever his name is, Show Speed. He eliminates somebody. He's celebrating, not paying attention. And Braun Breaker does that damn 23 out and spears the fuck.
It looked like he was hit by a Mack fucking truck.
And he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready because he got hit because his arms were down, and you could tell because Braun had him by the arm, so he was like this. He wasn't going anywhere. Dude, we rewound that and laughed. I don't know how many times. A matter of fact, I need to find it on Netflix
There's
later.
another angle of it. ESPN posted it. Okay, ESPN posted it. There was another angle of it that was coming from like his side, so not seeing.
Is that the one? That's the one that T showed us.
Yeah,
dude. And Breaker came out with the Steiner map onesie. I keep calling it a onesie.
Yes, it was a pink Steiner math onesie. It was great.
Sheamus, Jimmy Uso, ex Mr. Flair, otherwise known as Andrade.
Yeah, ex Mr. Flair. I got you. Yeah.
Jacob Fatu, Kaiser, The Miz. Then we get our first surprise. If you say his name, he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
My favorite thing about Joe Hendry was, one, he did eliminate somebody. 2, he's doing his whole gimmick, and Sheamus is just in the corner watching it and actually clapping along every time the song claps. I thought and then when Joe Hendry gets eliminated by like Fatu, Sheamus turns around and looks at him and goes, I was enjoying
that. That was awesome. All right, so Kaiser. Okay, Roman Reigns, McIntyre, Baylor.
we were all a little surprised to see Roman come in as early as he did. And he must have a hair product line coming or something, because his hair was just immaculate. Like it just was a mane.
Yeah. Shinsuke, Jay Uso. The phenomenal AJ Styles is back.
Quite a surprise there. Kept it under wraps. Went back to his original music in WWE.
Mm-hmm. Braun Strowman, you knew he was going after Fatu. Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Dirty Dom, Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, L.A. Knight, yeah, and then number 30, Logan Paul.
So apparently a lot of people are mad at LA Knight because he messed up the elimination of Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, so what happened? I don't remember that part.
So the video of it shows that LA Knight went after Logan Paul, and I think the way the spot was supposed to go was he was supposed to move him out of the way by hitting him. Instead, he did his back up to hit him, and Damian Priest ran right through his shoulder to push McIntyre over. So obviously, like, it was supposed to be a clean Damian Priest Drew McIntyre confrontation, and it wasn't as clean as it should have been. It wasn't. It didn't look like anything that should have gotten heat, if you ask me, because with that many men in the ring, something's gonna happen. Like, I'm amazed people don't twist their ankle more often in the Royal Rumble. With all the people laying down in the corners. So I was a little surprised that I heard that Drew McIntyre was really pissed off about it.
Can we talk about John Cena's easy slip-on Skechers and the socks he was wearing?
He was wearing Oscar Grandma's shoes.
Yes, he was. She retired. She didn't need them no more.
She didn't need them. So he saw them in the ring, and he put them on. Wow, these are really on. These are comfortable.
He strapped them bitches on.
Yeah, his shoe game was not on point,
as it normally is. I was disappointed. So the retirement shoes, Michael Turner said.
Yeah, that's funny.
So what do you think that? So there was at one point, who was it? Punk, Seth, and Roman all got eliminated right around the same time, and they started fighting around the ring. Now,
and then,
I think this gets a visit.
Two of the three were eliminated by Logan Paul, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and Seth curb stomped Roman on the stairs. I'm thinking triple threat at WrestleMania. They got to find something to do with those guys.
It makes the most sense, and it also means that each of them, in case there's an injury or something in the match, that they've protected, the sanctity of the match at that point. We got 2.5 months of build time, or a month and 2.5 months, because we got all of February, all of March, and WrestleMania is 4/19, 4/20, so, or 4/20, 4/21, whatever Saturday, Sunday is there.
4/20. Woo.
Yeah, well, Rob Van Dam showed up at the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And they even did a video in the back where he's like, check out all these legends. You got Rick Steiner, you've got the million, or whoever was there, and then he goes, and then you've got Rob Van, and Farouk shows up and goes, bam.
I think one of my favorites, and they were showing all the Hall of Famers in the audience, and they showed The Godfather, and he realized he's going to be on camera. Also, he saw the smoke coming. I'm like, you know what?
He was like,
yeah.
And then he's like, and the whole time I'm sitting there going, they're talking about Rob Van Dam. I bet he's sitting right next to The Godfather. The elimination and getting Seth, Punk, and Roman out of it all of a sudden had everybody going, holy shit, they're going to give it to Cena, you know? Um,
Or
and,
Logan.
and then when it came down to, like, we thought it came down to John Cena and Logan Paul, and it didn't. It came down to John Cena, Logan Paul, and the Yeet
Jay.
Machine.
Because Jay was laid down on the corner. So, like, when those other guys got eliminated, the only two people standing was Cena
And
and
Logan
Paul. And
Yeah.
we forgot about Jay until he stood up. They were like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, and then you know, Cena gets Logan Paul thrown out. And then it comes down to the two of them, and they're looking at each other, and you know, they got to the point where Jay's down, and John Cena sits there and goes, "The last time is now," and goes to do the "you can't see me" and everything, and before you know it, they're both standing outside on the ring apron, and I really thought they were going to do the double elimination, you know, the same time thing, and they didn't do it.
Well, I thought he was going to give him the attitude adjustment off and still hold on.
And to our shock and awe, I would say, when he got him up for the attitude adjustment, Jay slipped off the back and then just quickly
He fell into the ring.
Kicked him out, and John Cena fell off the apron, and
Well, he didn't fall. He jumped because remember he landed. He had his back.
well, it's because he got kicked in the back though, so it was, you know,
then
like
he landed on his feet.
he jumped, but it was but it was like he fell out of the ring.
Yeah.
Right? Logan Paul had another interesting spot going from the ring apron to the table. So I guess you know, he got Kofi's spot this year.
Kofi's too old to do it now.
It easily was the most shocking ending and unexpected ending of a Royal Rumble that I can remember. Like, I don't remember the last time that maybe Shinsuke Nakamura.
Probably.
You know, like that's probably the most shocking winner of a Royal Rumble that I can remember before this. But Jey Uso winning it, obviously after losing Saturday night's main event just a week prior, you know, and the look that Gunther gave him after the match that they had kind of made you think, how do they run this back again? And now tonight, you know, Monday Night Raw is probably opening with Jey Uso, I would assume.
And you know he's going after Gunther. And there's no doubt. I muted myself. They don't even have to say or ask who you going after. You know.
I mean, I think it'll be interesting because I think it's something where he could sit there and say, I want Cody.
I think they're saving Cody for Cena.
Well, I do too, but I really don't want John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the title. I would love Gunther versus John Cena. But I don't think Cena wants to be brutalized on this final tour.
And I think they want Jay to be the one to take that title off of Gunther.
I mean, at this point, they only have Gunther lose at like major events like that. So,
and then that might push, you know, if Cody keeps his belt, then maybe it'll be Gunther and Cody. We can get that match finally.
I just put something in the comments accidentally.
Yeah,
I meant to make it a banner. I was on the wrong side. The overall event score that I give this one, Tino, I give it an A+, because I felt like the women's Rumble was an A. I felt like the match between the Motor City Machine Guns and DIY, it was a B+ match. It's just it you know, you can't follow that up. Like you almost need to do like a musical performance after one of the Rumble matches. You know what I mean? Cody versus Kevin, A+. In fact, I out of a, you know, if we're doing stars, that's at least a 6-star match to me. And then the men's Rumble was, again, the most unpredictable. and yet still had those moments in it where you're just like, holy shit, that happened,
Yep.
right? Like
Yep.
like Braun Breaker going through I Show Speed, Logan Paul jumping out all the way to the table, the stomp that Seth ended up doing to Roman with the 2 feet, like Roman after that looked concussed. Like he looked rough. And they even I probably sent you the video, but them walking through the crowd to get out rather than going all the way back up the ramp, like Roman going that way, and he even looked at Paul and said, "What happened?" So I and then backstage, I think it was Jackie Redmond already said that the storyline right now for Cody Rhodes is that Cody Rhodes did suffer multiple injuries. We don't know what they entail, but she did say we're hoping it's not too serious, and we're hoping it doesn't do something to a possible main event at WrestleMania. And with Kevin, like I said, I think that if his 3-year deal that he signed 3 years ago is up, then this is the spot where he can be off TV for a while. If his contract is up, hell, he could be Kevin Steen next week, So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. I think that, like I said already earlier, that he is a person that deserves the championships and everything. I hate seeing him not get treated the same as some of these top guys. And he's done more. Like he's the current age Mick Foley, and he's like the current age Mick Foley with the attitude of a Steve Austin,
Yeah.
And obviously he's got the stunner now too. So it's like I don't want I hate to see him show up on AEW, because it means that you get a couple weeks of him being, maybe even a couple months of him being a top guy, and then he just falls into line with everybody else at some point. And he's main evented 2 WrestleManias. So finally, Tino, unless you got anything else you want to say about. Is this a moment where Triple H made the decision, or is this, like I think it is, his actual boss, Nick Khan, is the one that said you're going into the Hall of Fame?
I think it's Nick Khan. I don't think Triple H.
Michael says he thinks it's okay.
I think it's okay for Triple H. I think it's Nick Khan. What I'm scared of is now Rock's going to try to put himself in too.
Well, the Rock was always going to become a WWE Hall of Famer, and is deservedly so. I mean, he's like a 9-time champion. He main evented some of the biggest WrestleManias of all time. Like there's no reason why he shouldn't be. The problem that you run into is the whole, like, is it a nepotism thing where you're sitting there putting yourself in, and that's how it gets looked at, unfortunately. I think that's why last year when The Rock actually, who was it that he put in? His grandmother. He put his grandmother in. Ada Johnson. No, his mom's Ada. Leah Maivia.
Yeah.
Or no. His grandmother is who they put in.
Leah Maivia.
Yeah. So they put her in, and I think that's why they gave him that People's Champion belt, was because, like, right now he can't really go into the Hall of Fame, and Triple H is a name that he's already in the Hall of Fame, and they even mentioned that. They said yes, he went in as part of DX, but now he gets his rightful spot in the Hall of Fame as the cerebral assassin Triple H, because he deserves it. I mean, he was a 14-time world champion. He deserves it.
Hogan's in twice. He's been by himself in NWO.
Well, yeah, I mean, Flair's in twice by being Flair and with the Four Horsemen. Shawn Michaels is in twice, like Booker T's in twice. I always joke that X-Pac could be the first 3-timer because he's in with the NWO, he's in with the DX, and he could also be in by himself.
True.
You know, at this point though, I don't know who else is going to get announced. Michael saying Lisa Marie Varon. I absolutely do think Victoria should be in the Hall of Fame. I told her that myself when I met her. It's one of those situations where like that one's long overdue, and they have recently made up to where she's on a Legends contract, so I think she will actually be in. And she, like, compared to anybody else that could get in this year from that Attitude Era time frame, there's no one more deserving than Victoria. So I totally see her getting in. Trying to think, like I don't know who else you would put in at this point. You know, like there's so many people that are in there. I think, you know, someone said Rick Rude not too long ago, and I think Rick Rude is in there. I think he got in like 2009. In fact, I know he did because I remember his sons going up there and talking about the Sweat Hogs. So it's going to be interesting to see who else they get. Like Bryan Danielson not being under AEW contract right now would be a great choice, and it'd be really interesting if he went in the same year that Triple H went in. You know, all things considered, and how much he was held back by the corporate, you know, stooges. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. You got anything else, Tino?
That's it.
All right. Well, folks, we went an hour and 45 tonight. I know Tino's ready to get off of here. I know I am as well. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for joining us. We will obviously be back soon, next Monday. I don't see any reason why we won't be here. And with that, Tino, why don't you tell everybody how to find us?
Find me on Blue Sky. You can find you can find me on Insta, Tino. You can find me on Snap. You can find me on the TikTok as Tino R Great Music. You can find us on X, the Potsy and Tino, Facebook. We are the Potsy and Tino Show. We're also here each and every week right here on the Pots and Pans Network. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, like our shit, buy our shit. We also want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song, which you can get on iTunes for 99 cents. 99 Jones.
Yeah, 99 Yambag Jones. Taz threw a Jones in there. He threw a Yambag in there.
He's been throwing Joneses in there a lot lately.
He does. Folks, you can find, like, you're watching the show right here on YouTube, Rob Pochak. Obviously, Instagram, Rob Pochak. Still on Twitter at Rob Poch or at Pochak, and then Blue Sky, Rob Potsy Pochak. TikTok, Rob Potsy Pochak, and Twitch, Rob Potsy Pochak. So, folks, thank you so much. We love having you here. We will see you next time, and thank you, Michael, for saying it was a good show. I think so too. We will see you next time, and hopefully everybody stays safe, stays well, and doesn't bother too much with some of those tariffs out there. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.